But we are going to begin with eccentric millionaire Robert Durst. He has just been charged with murder. Police arrested Durst in New Orleans on Saturday after new evidence connects him to a killing in LA 15 years ago.
Killed them all, of course.
And that was a possible confession. This aired during dramatic conclusion to that HBO documentary on his life. It aired last night, or the final episode aired last night. And Durst apparently forgot his microphone was on when he went to the bathroom and apparently admitted to killing both a friend and his wife. He has waived extradition to LA, but there could be a holdup. Phil Schuman is here. He has been investigating this all day. Phil.
Quite a story. Durst agreed to be interviewed for that HBO documentary, 25 hours worth. His rambling answers, his bizarre behavior was quite evident. The so-called confession coming at the very end. Now he's in custody, soon to be returned to a Los Angeles courtroom. Robert Durst, now 71, the eccentric heir to a New York real estate fortune, seen here in a jail jumpsuit in a New Orleans courtroom, where he agreed to return to Los Angeles to face a murder charge in the death of his college friend Susan Berman. It was back on Christmas Eve in the year 2000 when Susan Berman's body was discovered inside this small rented home in Benedict Canyon, just on the edge of Beverly Hills. She'd been shot once in the head in a way typically described as execution style. Durst always denied killing Berman, but prosecutors believe he had motive to keep her from telling what she knew about the 1982 disappearance of Durst's wife, Kathleen, in New York. A case reopened years later by then Westchester County District Attorney Jeanine Pirro, now a Fox News host.
When I heard about her murder, the first thing I said was Durst did it. I mean, there's no question in my mind about that. But you know what? It's not about what you think. It's about what you can prove. Can you put the facts behind what you believe? He had motive, means, and opportunity.
Durst's own words may be his undoing as part of the HBO documentary he participated in called The Jinx. Durst was confronted with a letter he'd written to Berman with similar handwriting to an anonymous letter police received back in 2000, listing her address and saying there was a cadaver there. Both letters had Beverly misspelled. After that moment, listen to what Durst's wireless mic picked up as he took a bathroom break.
Killed them all, of course.
Killed them all, of course, presumably referring to his then-wife Kathleen back in '82, Susan Berman in 2000, and a year later an elderly neighbor in Texas named Morris Black. Durst was acquitted of that, self-defense he said, though he admitted cutting up Black's body and dumping it in the ocean.
Durst didn't.
As for this new murder charge involving Berman, Durst's attorneys on their way into court claimed setup by the HBO filmmakers.
Comments on this alleged bathroom confession last night, the HBO special.
It was pretty slick. It probably get him an Emmy. I thought it was very misleading, too.
Now, the filmmaker said they did share that bathroom recording with the authorities. It's curious to some that the arrest warrant in the Berman case comes right as the HBO special ends. Jeanine Pirro said from New York today that Durst was arrested now because he was reportedly on his way to Cuba, which would have put him out of the reach of U.S. authorities. Bobby, Lauren?
Okay, Phil, thank you very much. We're going to bring in two criminal defense attorneys, Leo Terrell, R.J. Manuelian, to weigh in on this. You hear that confession and you get chills hearing it, but how solid do you think that really is?
Look, first of all, he's an eccentric, he's a millionaire, and he doesn't listen to his attorney. No attorney will allow him to appear on a show. He did it over their objection. But if I'm his attorney, I'm going to attack the credibility of that show. I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, you believe that? That's acting. He's acting. It's a script, and that's how you attack.
But he was by himself in a bathroom and
could have been rehearsing lines.
Well, he was mumbling to himself. And remember, when he got arrested at the New Orleans hotel, they found him walking around the lobby mumbling to himself. So it plays within that pattern. He could always make a statement that they were trying to berate him regarding these questions, trying to get answers, and he was being sarcastic. Did I kill him? Yeah, I killed him. But that's going to be at the heart of the issue, whether or not that statement is an actual admission or whether or not it was a sarcastic statement.
But Los Angeles prosecutors did file murder charges against him, so they must have something where they believe they can prove.
The case is old, and I guarantee you what they have what they're relying upon is the letter, the similarities in the letter in which the word Beverly is misspelled and looks similar to a letter that was written after Berman was killed. And they're hoping, Lauren, for the information that they obtained from HBO, because as you heard on the script by Phil, information was obtained from the HBO producers.
And they handed it over to the cops.
Handed it over to the cops.
And the fact of the matter is, this might be the closest the prosecutors may be able to try him, so they're going to go for it. And I think that's what they're doing in this case.
But even if they had that letter and they were able to make that connection, is that enough? So
No.
what if he anonymously sent a letter
handwriting
and said,
sample
hey, the body's over here?
It's not enough because they got to place him at the scene. They got to have forensic evidence. They got to they have to prove that he was at the scene of the crime. If they don't have that, game over. They can't win.
And also, you got to remember, there's going to be a hearing regarding this statement that he made. Well, whether or not it'll be admissible still remains to be seen. There's a possibility that the judge may block that statement from coming in because it's the veracity of the truthfulness and the authenticity and the creditworthiness of the statement may not be something that he may want to introduce to the trial.
And one other point, if I'm the attorney for Durst, I'm going to rip the producers and directors, trying to get them to admit that they wanted to hype the show. Because remember, they're playing for ratings, and they're going to try to do everything to give the impression that he committed the crime, but he got away with it.
Well, you heard what Janine Perot said, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter if we think he's guilty or not. It's what you can prove in court. And when you watch that documentary, I don't think anyone walked away thinking he might be innocent.
And that's the court of public opinion. But Lauren, in the court of law, you got to get 12 jurors based on admissible evidence. Half what you saw on TV would never see the light of day in court.
And Lauren, you brought a good point. It's not that he's innocent. It's whether they could prove whether he's not guilty. There's a difference between factual innocence and not being guilty of a crime.
But you can already hear the attorneys there winding this thing up, saying this is all Hollywood, this is a setup.
Yeah.
He didn't know that any of this stuff was going to be turned over to police.
It's a PR, they're doing a PR machine because right now this is the hottest story as far as crime story. And the key here is when he gets to LA, if he gets to LA first, or if the New Orleans DA wants to play politics and hold them in New Orleans for the gun charge.
Right. But do you think they cut a deal to arrest him like 20 hours before their finale aired if they handed over all this information?
You know what?
Months ago?
You know that the authorities were in collusion with the HBO directors because they knew everything about this guy. And the setup was perfect.
Right.
They arrest him on the eve of the final show.
Because if they arrested him too early, we would have had all the information before the show aired.
Absolutely. And that show's already taped and produced before the airing. So you know it was a setup.
This is a story that has tremendous legs on it, doesn't it?
When crime fighting in Hollywood
71
collide.
years old, though. It's seemingly, they're going to fight this case, and I don't know. It seems it's going to be drawn out, seemingly.
Well, look at it this way. The guy's been an eccentric person. He's done serial murders. And I think that the prosecutors in California want to make sure that they at least give it their good faith try and put this guy away, because in their minds, they believe they committed it. But as Judge Pirro said, it's not what you know, it's what you could prove. Can you prove circumstantially, forensically, with physical evidence that this guy killed these people? Because the confession alone is not enough. You need corpus delicti, which means you need a connection with the physical evidence in the case.
All right. We shall see, right?
Wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
Could have another big trial on our hands here in LA.
We'll be there.
RJ Manuelian and Leo Terrell, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.